Hey, it's the Empire. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon for more videos. We taking over. Let's go, champ. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's go. Hey, it's the Empire, Boxing Empire, Boxing Boxing. Now, my boy Andy Ruiz, man, former IBF, WBO, WBA Unified Heavyweight Mexican Champion, beat Anthony Joshua in his debut, man. His debut, man, shocked the world. He is with his, it seems like, hero, Butterbean. Now, if you didn't know, man, Butterbean was a sensation when he was coming up, man. He was knocking guys out left and right. And when he finally stepped up in competition a little bit later in his career, he couldn't really compete. But Butterbean was knocking out everyone, man. I mean, he was just known as a big dude. He looked like, oh, you can walk over him. He's just some fat guy. And he was knocking guys out like in round one. He had a lot of round one knockouts. He was just walking through guys. And, you know, Andy Ruiz, with the physique similar to Butterbean, if not exactly the same, watched this guy growing up. And he idolized the guy enough to take a picture with the kid, right? You see Andy Ruiz right there with Butterbean, and, you know, that inspired Andy Ruiz to keep going on in the sport of boxing. Now, I mean, I guess I'm looking in too much into this. Maybe I could be reaching, but it definitely helps to have a guy with a similar body type as you fighting at the highest level in the sport of boxing, and to show it can be done. You know, maybe Butterbean could get done for one reason or another, but you know what they say: when you see your hero, you don't want to be your hero. You want to be better than the hero. So, you know, Andy Ruiz, following in the footsteps of Butterbean, was able to stick to the sport of boxing and not only compete, but be the first heavyweight Mexican champion in boxing history. Not just a heavyweight champion, but a unified heavyweight champion, right? There were talks of Andy Ruiz fighting Deontay Wilder if he got past Anthony Joshua, which I believe, no doubt in my mind, would have happened. You know, this whole debate about if Deontay Wilder really wanted to fight with Anthony Joshua, everything was all about the bag, man, because we know it's all about what side of the street you're on. Andy Ruiz is with Al Heyman. He's with, you know, he's on Deontay Wilder's team as far as on the PBC side, and they're ready to make that fight because all the belts would be under one banner. Just like Tyson Fury and is with Frank Warren in Britain over there, and you know they can do business with Eddie Hearn because they're all from the same country. You know, that being said, man, you know they're making that fight. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are seemingly on a clash next year. They have a 2-fight deal, win, lose, or draw. So that being said, man, you know it's all about control in boxing. The fight is big, the money is big, but having control is better because even being a mandatory, getting a fight with a fighter, with a champion is extremely hard. It's extremely hard. So that being said, man, we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out with Andy Ruiz and who he's gonna fight next. He's been training with Canelo's team and Ray Reynosa, and you know the trainers say he's been looking really sharp. He's looking really well, and he gave it all to Andy Ruiz, the first heavyweight Mexican champion, to tell him what he wants to work on. Andy Ruiz is like, listen, I'm gonna tell you what I want to do, and Ray Reynosa said okay. So Andy Ruiz, hopefully he has a good boxing mind and he works on things he really needs to work on. In my opinion, the only thing Andy Ruiz really needs to work on is his foot movement. He could not catch up with Anthony Joshua in that fight, and hopefully he was honest with himself, and hopefully he gets on his bike more and he can actually move around the ring better and throw combinations. So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out with Andy Ruiz in his training. We're gonna see what he works on, but that's the only thing I can really see him doing better at. Just moving around the ring, and obviously losing that weight. That would help. Those are two things. If he got both those things at the same time, he'd be a lot stronger. He'd be a lot better fighter just because he can move a little easier with less weight on him. And if he practices his movement in general, it would be better on him. Can Ray Reynosa make Andy Ruiz a better mover? I don't know, man, because I'll be honest with you, Canelo Alvarez, he has good defensive ability, but he doesn't move too well as far as catching up with fighters. That's why his toughest fights are people like Arizona Lower and Floyd Mayweather. You cannot catch up with those fighters. People who move around and who could throw punches on the move and they hit you with a quick three piece. You know, Canelo cannot catch up with those guys. So we're gonna see if he can make Andy do the same thing. It's really important to
make Andy Ruiz mobile, because when you have power punchers like Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, they hit so hard, you gotta be able not just dodge the punch, you gotta be able to move out the way of the punch too. Or if you can, do both, dodge and move. You know what I mean? You gotta use your head movement and use your feet. You gotta use multifaceted dimensions of defense. A lot of people like to just use one aspect of defense. They'll just move out the way and they look like they're excessively moving. But if you're really advanced, you can move out the way and move your head and barely move and completely get out the way of the punch. You know, that's multidimensional, right? Maybe you can move your head, get away with the punch, move your feet, and counter punch at the same time. That's extreme defense. So that's all three at once, and it's possible. It can be done. We're gonna see if Andy Ruiz can replicate that, and if Ray Renuncio has the wherewithal and the boxing IQ to make him do all three at once. So yeah, man, we're gonna see, man. But Andy Ruiz's career is looking bright, man. People just want to see him back in the ring, and they want to see him, look good. But they want to see him looking good, doing things that he hasn't done before. And we all know he's fast. We all know he has a solid chin. But we want to see the guy box. I want to see him move around the ring. I want to see him get in and out. I want to see him use speed. I want not just hand speed, but foot speed. So we're gonna see how Andy Ruiz's career goes from here, man. I hope he knows, Ray Renuncio knows what he's doing. I hope Andy Ruiz is honest with himself, and the reason why he didn't beat Anthony Joshua wasn't because of lack of skill. It wasn't because he wasn't faster than Anthony Joshua. It wasn't that he had a better chin than Anthony Joshua. It's that he wasn't fast enough, footwork wise. So yeah, man, we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out. Let me know how you guys feel about it, though, man. Andy Ruiz, man, and Butterbean. Big deal, big deal. Let me know how you guys feel about it, though. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Jubas Empire. Peace.